everybody. Thank you for joining us again on another edition of International IADR Registry's Member Spotlight. This is going to be for the month of October of 2019. We are a little behind, so thank you for your patience, but we will be catching up. Now, today we have a very special guest. I've actually known her a good chunk of time before I joined IADR, and ever since I met her, she's been an absolutely incredible person, just like she is today. So I am very happy to announce that our member spotlight is going to be shone on Miss Kendra Marie Gilbert. Say hi, Kendra.
Hey, Fredo. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Hi to all my friends through International IADR Registry, fellow artists, family. What's up?
Kendra, tell us about your growing up story. What was it like being a young you?
Wow. What was it like being me as a kid? Well, in the beginning, I think I was a little bit of a ham. I remember always loving to, be in front of my dad's camera or, doing something to make everybody laugh. I would do these little commercials, and some of you guys that are like, back in the 70s, 80s, you'll remember the Puffs, What a Difference commercial, and that was my big thing. I was this little girl walking around with a box of tissues going, Puffs, what a difference. So I was always, mimicking what I saw and trying to make it funny, because I love making people that I love especially laugh. My parents divorced when I was 7, and things kind of drastically changed for me. So I guess it was a bit of a roller coaster ride, because I went from having my entire family with me, which was my whole world, to being carried off to no man's land in Arkansas and having to basically get used to a whole new thing. So my heart really genuinely goes out to people who had to experience those traumatic separations with their family and parents at a young age, because it's really traumatic. So that definitely was like the first major moment in my young life where I was like, I realized that nothing lasts forever. And, it was hard for me to deal with that. I became introverted. It was hard for me to make friends, at least friends that I felt comfortable around. I was very depressed. I missed my sister, and I missed my family back home in Florida very much. And so, it was a struggle for me for a while. And, my life was, even though I had a lot of connection to the wildlife, because Arkansas was very rural. There was nothing there really. So I had to use my imagination. I was kind of forced into that situation where I had to use my imagination, and I guess it was kind of like the beginnings to my creative side, because I had to literally create a different world up here so that I could function and get through that time. So I had some pretty crazy ideas when I was a kid about unicorns and fairies and everything, and it was a blast, but it was also a difficult time. So.
And what would you say is the very first artistic endeavor that you tried that you can remember?
The first artistic endeavor that I had was definitely drawing. And I was infatuated, like I said before, I was infatuated with the fantasy realm. So everything with me was unicorns. I didn't care what it was, if it was a mailbox shaped, in the head of a unicorn, or if it was a clock, or if it was a watch, or if it was just something you put on a shelf. I needed it because it was a unicorn, right? So that's what I did. I drew unicorns. My artwork actually started getting noticed by my teachers early in life. I was selected out of quite a few different students to do certain special projects that required, some creative skills and everything. And I didn't really think of much of it at the time. I was just like, yeah, right, whatever, this is, they're just, whatever. They like me for whatever. I never really considered it as being like, wow, they really appreciate the fact that I'm capable of doing these things. I'd never even considered that really as much. I just loved doing it, and I appreciated the opportunities that were given to me to express myself in that manner. So, definitely drawing. And then those things, led into other things like painting and everything. So.
And so why this art form? What is it about this art form that drew you in and just captivated your heart over any other art form that's out there?
Why do I like sculpting, especially in polymer clay? You know, it's funny because when I was growing up, my mother was an extremely talented woman. Pretty much everybody in my family had some sort of artistic ability. My dad did calligraphy beautifully. I mean, he was a watchmaker and jeweler. My mom, she was a painter. She did oil painting, a phenomenal artist. And anyway, she made clowns, and it was she even had a contract with Circus World for a while to make her clowns, and this was like back in the early well, it was like in the 70s, I guess, 70s. So anyway, I grew up in a home where there was an art studio in there, and I watched my mom carve these figures out of styrofoam. I watched her mold the fabrics around, painting the detail work, all of it that went into these sculptures. And I remember how impressed everybody was with it, and how it made her feel, and just the beauty of it. So, you know, my sister and I, we would play with things like Play-Doh together and make little figures and stuff like that, but it was never anything, you know, like that, you know, like my mom was doing. But we had a lot of fun with it. So when I finally ran into the art of polymer clay sculpting, because I always assumed that sculpting required this big art studio with all these special tools and equipment and all this other stuff, when I saw that it could be done on a smaller scale and done like with hardly really anything, I mean, yeah, you can get crazy, but really all you need is a pack of clay and a few tools and the ability to cure it, and you can literally, you know, go crazy with this medium. So when I saw what people were doing with it, it just fascinated me so much. I just knew I had to be part of that. And you know, I love it because it lets me be creative in a way that you can't really get with some other art forms like 2D art, like paintings and stuff. And you know, sculpture is something you can hold, you can turn it different angles and see different things and different views, and it's just so it's complex, and it's just on a different level, I guess, is the reason why I just love it so much more.
And what would you say gets you out of bed every single morning? What gets you the most excited to start your day every single day?
My family and my dogs, which I can include as my family, they're the ones that get me going every day. I know that I have to get up. I have no choice. So I have to get up, and I have to get prepared to do things like, you know, everything. I hate saying it, but to pick up poop. Poop starts my day, Fredo. It really gets me going, gets the juices flowing. No, I'm just kidding. But I know I have chores. I have things I have to do. I have animals that rely on me. And they are really, they're very special to me, my Alaska Malamutes. So, and then also too, of course, my family, you know, my son, he's soon to be 13. Oh my God, I can't believe him. Anyway, so, yeah, my family, my dogs, my life up here, you know, that's really what kind of gets me motivated and gets me going.
All right, I want to get a little mushy now and tell us the love story between you and your husband. How did you guys come to be?
Well, now we're getting a little personal, huh? No, I'm just joking. Wow, yeah, my significant other, my Lars Gilbert. Well, I owned a retail store in Florida called Ancient Journey. It was a new age store, and I had everything in that store, from custom made jewelry and my own artwork to books, crystals, and all the traditional things that you would come to expect to find in a new age shop. You know, I had it pretty much all. We were going through the recession, and all of a sudden I was doing really great. I had great sales, and then all of a sudden it just stopped almost overnight. So I decided that I was going to go into business with a friend of mine, Brian Evanson of the Swanee Case Company. And we decided that we were going to kind of like shack up together and move out towards an area of town that was known for collectibles, and I can't even think of the name of it. Wow, that's bad. But anyway, it was an antique district. Some of the people that were watching this might know what I'm talking about. Anyway, it was there. a kind of a combination between that location and my previous location where I had met my husband. He came there to actually help our mutual friend Brian moving some stuff around and doing some things, and I can't really explain it. It was just like the song, two worlds collided, and we just kind of knew right away that we were meant to be. I had a lot of previous relationships that really were bad, difficult, very trying to the soul, and I had pretty much had given up on love, to be quite honest with you. And it was like God was like, no, you're not getting out that easy. You're gonna have the love of your life, and here he is. So that's basically what happened, and we've been together ever since. So it's been one hell of a, 13-year trip, man.
And so I know that my favorite time of day to sculpt or pretty much do anything is right when I wake up in the morning, because to me everything is so fresh and beautiful in the morning. But what would you say is your favorite time of day to be in the studio, and why?
Favorite time of day to sculpt? I think I get most creative when I have everything else already taken care of, because I don't do well with having things back here, like, oh God, you got to do laundry. Oh God, you got to do dishes. Oh, you got to take care of the dogs. Did you spend enough time with your son? Did you spend enough time, is his homework done? Is your homework done? So I feel like towards the evening when I sort of can feel like, okay, I have all of that done. Now I can focus on what I really want to do. I mean, not that I don't like doing those other things, but creatively speaking, I think you have to just be in that right flow in order for things to come out of you and to be fully realized for you. I've tried sculpting before when I've been stressed out and feeling like I had too much other stuff going on, and my sculptures look horrifying. So I'm like, okay, I'm not even going to try it. So yeah, I'd say early evening to late evening. Not too late though, because then you just can't see what you're even doing. So.
So in your artistic journey, have you always only done one of a kind art doll sculpting, or have you ventured out into other mediums and created other kinds of art?
Yes, I have tried other mediums before, and I have not liked any of them as much as I do polymer clay. I also make miniature handmade eyes. That's kind of like my obsession. So that's not really sculpture. It's more or less mixed media, I guess would be the right term for it, because I use different things. So I've done painting, I've done drawing, I've done chalks, I've done a lot of things. I started getting into what is that? Scrapbooking, where you make cool little things. I like those vintage lost and found type things, But I realized with those things, unless you put them on the wall, you make them and I don't really know what to do with them. I mean, it's nice to look at and everything, or to showcase them, but if you don't have, I don't know. Sculpture just seems like you can just do so many more different things with it. It's like a never-ending, creative, whatever. I mean, it's like Darwin's grab bag. You don't know what you're going to get from yourself. So that's why I've chosen to stick with that. But yes, I have tried other mediums, and I love art in general. So I guess I can kind of say I like them all.
Now, out of all the pieces that you've made to date, what would you say is your most favorite piece, the one that's the closest to your heart, that makes you feel the most emotions, and why?
My favorite sculpture, wow. I'm going to have to say it was probably my American McGee Alice. And it sucks because I had lost a bunch of photos that I had of that. Oh man, I was so mad. Anyway, and that's happened to me a couple of times. I don't know, for some reason, electronics and me don't get along very well. So anyway, the photos that I do have of her, I cherish, because that's all I have of her left, because she, has her new home. So anyway, I liked it because it was one of the most complex pieces I've ever done. And I did everything from scratch, everything by hand. And even her costume, it was the first time I had used fabric really like in a costume combined with, clay. It was such a huge project for me. It took months for me to complete her. Um, I wish I would have been as good with eyes then as I am now, because I think her eyes would have been a lot better. But she still turned out great, and I love American McGee Alice. It's a RPG video game through Spicy Horse, and yeah, American McGee puts it out, and I love the story. It's kind of a dark, twisted version of Alice in Wonderland, but I thoroughly enjoy it. So yeah, that's probably my most favorite.
So tell us about the one-of-a-kind artist community that you actually ran when you and I first met, because I remember becoming a member of that first, meeting you, and I remember being left with a feeling of just joy inside with the communication that I had with you, even if it was just virtual, because your energy really does come through. And so tell us a little bit about what made you want to create an artist community, kind of what led up to that, how did you actually get it going, how the whole experience was for you, or why things ended up kind of, I guess, closing down from that community.
um, it was either in the Enchanted Oak, and it was a Ning site that I started. It was like a forum thing that I was trying to do. Enchanted OOAK. I eventually ended up having another artist take that over. I don't know whatever became of it. I got frustrated because I had also started a online auction and classified site, and it was called Febe, Fantasy Art Enterprise Brilliant Artist Encounter, which was a huge mouthful. And I thought, Febe, I'm trying to get people away from eBay, and so it just kind of, I don't know, it just kind of happened. And I had previous experience, actually quite a bit, freelance web development. And so I just decided that, I wanted to try something to see if I could help our industry have another option for selling our work. Because I personally, before I even started, getting into sculpture and polymer clay art and everything, I had my retail location, Ancient Journey. So I had started off on eBay drop shipping and shipping out products and my own work through that, through eBay, but through Ancient Journey. So I had already experienced the many downers when it came to eBay, and I started realizing that it was a significant issue, and wanted to see if I could, figure out a solution. I lost a lot of money. It didn't work out really well. It did well for a while. I actually had like close to, if I remember correctly, it was like 600 or so subscribers, so it's not too bad, But Etsy had just launched also at that time, around that time, I think, and I just did not have the financial backing. I didn't have the right marketing, and more importantly, I didn't have the support that I wish I would have gotten from some more, more predominant artists, because I think that's really important. If you're going to start something like that, you kind of got to have like a sponsor, I guess, someone who is trustworthy and who is involved in the community enough to where people are going to go, okay, well, if he's doing it, then I'm going to do it. Or if she's up, if she thinks it's cool, I'm going to check it out. That kind of thing. So I lacked some of that, even though I did have support from quite a few very well-known artists back then at the time. So yeah, that was cool. Huh?
So what other kind of talents do you have that we don't yet know about?
My other talents? Wow. I make a mean spaghetti. Oh no, I'm just kidding. I really don't. I make miniature eyes. I actually kind of specialize in that now. I literally can say I specialize in making miniature eyes for art doll sculptures, which isn't really sculpture, so it's a different type of talent, I guess. So yeah, I could say spaghetti making and eyeballs.
And I want you to talk to us about this eye making tutorial that you have out, and also the Facebook group that you have dedicated to the people that have purchased that tutorial, for them to be able to kind of get help and tips in that private Facebook group. So tell us a little bit about why you wanted to make that specific tutorial, and kind of everything encompassing that whole thing for you.
Yeah, so I have a tutorial. It's starting to turn into a novel. Yeah, it's like over 40 pages now. I think I'm pushing 50. Anyway, basically on how to make miniature, small-scale eyes for our polymer clay art dolls. So yeah, I started the tutorial out showing how I construct eyes basically from scratch. And it's kind of like a mixture of things that I had seen before, kind of old school stuff, and then I added my own unique little twists. The thing that I have done is I have gone through a painstaking amount of time, energy, effort, and everything, reviewing and trying different products to make the lenses. Because everybody has different success rates with different products. Like some people have excellent, results using magic gloss to make the lenses. Other people have horrible luck with it, like me. And I don't know if it's my altitude or the humidity or what, but I would always have severe shrinking and cracking and yellowing and everything from magic gloss. So I had to eventually go, okay, I can't do this. So I've tried a lot of different things, and the tutorial basically goes through each one of those different products. And now, because my tutorial was starting to get so big, I opened up a Facebook group called Let's Make Eyes. It's exclusive for only people that have purchased either my molds, my eye molds, or my tutorial, or who have like donated to one of my mold projects or whatever. And I add any additional findings in there. So it's kind of like a bonus. It's the tutorial that keeps giving. So anyway, yeah, that's basically for the tutorial. I'm very excited because I've got one in the works, but I have got 2 molds now that I have personally designed, and had and enlisted the help of 3D Tech in order to make 3D print prototypes so that I can manufacture or produce molds, silicone molds, to make bulk eye trays, eye base trays. I don't want this question to get too long here. It's a lot of information, but the first mold that I did, it's available on my Etsy shop. I had the help of Todd Debrasini. He is a Hollywood special effects guru, and I was really excited to work with him. But I would have never been able to do that mold or the one that I have currently in the works right now if it wasn't for my friend Tim Paris. And I just love him to death. He's like a big brother to me. I've always loved him. I worked with him in Florida, working at a company that sold SolidWorks, and he's an amazing, talented engineer. And he took my design and brought it to a whole new level. And I'm pleased to say I think I'm the only one right now who has actually ever done anything like this. So I'm feeling pretty stoked, actually.
Now, do you sell most of your artwork, or do you just kind of keep most of it, or give some away as gifts?
Wow, I have always, you know what, I have always really sucked. I hope I can say that on here. Um, I really have. I'm horrible at marketing myself. You'll hardly ever see me in any of the groups, even though I belong to several of the groups. I very rarely will put myself out there. It's kind of, I guess, that whole introvert thing. I don't know what it is, but for the most part, in my earlier stuff that I've done, I sold exclusively through my my retail store, which was kind of like also like an art gallery, Ancient Journey in Florida. And I tried eBay once in the very beginning, and I remember feeling like, oh my God, this person just bought my work. I think it was like $100. And I still don't know to this day who had her and or who bought her, and I was mortified because I just kept thinking to myself, she's going to fall apart. They're going to get her, and they're going to be so disgusted with it, and they're just going to hate it. So for me, online sales for my artwork was always hard, especially in the very beginning, because I just had no confidence in it at all. I was just like, this is just not going to work. And I probably had a very legitimate reason for feeling that way, because I didn't know the medium back then like I do now. Like now I know, how to properly cure my clay. I know how to properly do a lot of the things that take years really to learn. So, but I also do give my work for gifts. I don't do it often, and when I do, I'm very inspired to do so. And right now I'm actually kind of trying to collect some of my work so that I can hopefully join one of those really cool, shows where you have a table and you can put all your pieces out. And if I keep selling everything I make, or if I sell, my pieces in between, I'm not going to have a cohesive collection to show. So I'm kind of putting the brakes a little bit on selling right now. I have a lot of things that are in the works that I haven't even finished yet. So we'll see, right?
What other plans do you have for your art? So as in, what other kind of things do you wish to accomplish with your art form that maybe you're already working on now or wish to start working on in the future?
I really don't know at this point what my main goal is, or what like a main accomplishment would be with my artwork. I think right now I just really want to continue to get better and enhance my skill set. I think that that's really important. I've kind of gotten off focus with my sculpting because I have been focusing so much on my eye making. But to me, that's kind of where a sculpture starts, is with the eyes. If the eyes are wrong, to me, it just kind of sort of goes along the whole, I don't know. It just seems to be where I have to start off at. So right now, I can't tell you. I don't know. I have no idea.
So how about you tell us something about yourself that we may not already know?
Somebody, or something that nobody knows about. I don't really know. I'm pretty much an open book. I don't really have a whole lot of secrets. I live at 8,700 feet in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. I literally am very high. In the elevation sense, I'm from Colorado, high Colorado. Anyway, you know what I mean. So yeah, maybe that. I am surrounded by mountains and wildlife. I have literal bears dancing in my backyard, and I have to run them off sometimes if they get too close. Kind of like Alaskan Bush People show, I'm like, they got all that going on TV, and I'm like, man, I had 2 bears on my back deck just last week. You know what I'm saying? I guess that's something that people might not know about me. I live in a very rural area of the country, and I love it. So maybe that constitutes.
And what does your art mean to you?
What does my art mean to me? Wow, it means a lot. You know, it's my outlet. It's my ability to create something that is just truly me, something from me. I think every artist can say that a little piece of themselves, a little piece of their heart, their soul goes into the work that they do. I completely can, subscribe to that because that's how I feel. And maybe that's why I have a lack of confidence, because I have a lack of confidence in myself a lot. So I think that kind of goes into my work sometimes. So I think when you invest in other people's artwork, that's what you're getting. You're getting a full spectrum view of that person who created that piece. So to me, it means a lot to me. And when I lost my sister, yeah, that was really hard, and that was not long ago. It was a little over a year ago. She passed away with breast cancer. She was extremely talented. She was a writer. She was a metalsmith. She had so many different things that she wanted to do with her life. And she was just always dedicated and devoted to her children so much that she just didn't get an opportunity, I think, to really, dust off some of those ambitions. And it does make me sad because I think if she would have gotten to that point or stage in her life with, the kids out of the house and everything, and she was able to really focus on her love for creativity, she would have really have been able to been successful. So right now, art has kind of taken on a new meaning to me, and it's basically honoring my sister's memory, and doing doing things that I know she would want me to keep doing, and doing the things that I know she would have done herself.
So as you know, Kendra, you, as well as every other member of IADR, are highly, highly valuable to us. You guys are the reason why we're around, is to help educate and promote artists like us. And I wanted to ask, has being a member of this organization helped you in any way become a better artist or even a better person? And if so, in what way has the community contributed to that?
Oh, thanks, Fredo. I really do appreciate it, and it's an honor to be a member of International Art Doll Registry. As a member, I have just been introduced to a lot of amazing people. It's about networking also. I have friends that have been my friends online for years, for well over 15 years, and most of us, we all kind of started to get to know each other because of the eBay group that had started out on eBay, and then just because back then social media, it was just we didn't have a lot of the stuff that we do now, and so International Art Doll Registry has just done really a wonderful job at bringing people together in a community, support, encouragement. You see the progress that some of these artists have had over the years, and it's amazing. Some very well-known artists today, if you took their work in 2020 or in 2019 and you look at, 2003, 4, or 5, you're like, my gosh, how did they get from there to here? It's incredible. So, with all of the artists that have joined in together, offering different forms of help, different tutorials, different, advice, feedback, honest truth, feedback, genuine encouragement, love, and everything. You can see where it's really helped a lot of people, and I'm one of them. So even though I don't, engage in the groups as often as I could, or as often as I should, I'm there and I'm watching and I'm experiencing and learning and growing. So
I want to thank all of our friends, viewers, and members of International Art Doll Registry for joining us for this special edition of International Art Doll Registry's Member Spotlight with Kendra Gilbert. And I want to invite everybody back for our next installment. I won't give away who it's going to be, but keep watching to find out.
Fredo, thanks so much for having me here and doing the interview. It was a lot of fun. Thanks for everybody watching. I appreciate it. Love to all my friends at International Art Doll Registry, all my family. Love you guys. See ya.